PSVR 2 is here and we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna unbox it and just see what all is in the box and what this thing is all about. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. If you are excited about this generation of game console, the heat is turning up. Yes, peripherals such as the PSVR 2, peripherals such as the DualSense Edge, and a ton of other aftermarket controllers are all starting to hit the market in the same year that we're expecting to get the news of the PS5 Slim model, which is, it's coming. All right, so there's a lot of really interesting new tech that's coming out for this generation. And today I want to look at the brand new PSVR 2. So we're going to do in this video an unboxing. We're going to talk about the features and I'm going to look at the fit and finish of the PSVR 2. If you came here looking for a video showing you how the PSVR 2 works, that is a future video. It's coming out on this channel, or it might already be out on this channel depending on when you're seeing this video. We're gonna do a deep dive into all of the features and functionality of PSVR 2, but we haven't even pulled it out of the box yet. So we're gonna get to that in this video. But first, let's talk about the specs of the PSVR 2. To start off with, the display panel gets a massive upgrade at 4.1 megapixels per eye out of an OLED screen. Contrast that to the old PSVR system of just 1 megapixel per eye. That's a 4 times improvement per eye, or an 8 times improvement over the last gen PSVR. That would explain why it took so long for this thing to come out. Sony wanted to make sure that they had this done right. Just like the last gen, it does support 90 or 120 hertz refresh rate, which is really important if you suffer from like motion sickness. The refresh rate will affect that a lot. So if you're looking at other VR systems, you're looking at, you know, Quest or Oculus, whatever those things even are, you want to make sure that the refresh rate is really high, because a slow refresh rate is what gives you that disconnect between your eyeball and your brain that says this isn't real. Higher refresh rate is definitely better. At 120 hertz, you're gonna get some really good frame rates that should eliminate motion sickness. The lenses on this headset are using a Fresnel lens. Now, that's probably a term that maybe not of you have all heard. The original PSVR used a non-Fresnel lens. Another factor to consider would be the field of view. Now, your eyes have a normal field of view of about 135 degrees. That means that if you like take your hand and you go like this until you can't see your hand anymore, and then you take your other hand and you go like this until you can't see your hand anymore, the space that you create will be about 135 degrees. Unfortunately, in my case, especially, my nose gets in the way of some of my field of view from this eye and some of the field of view from this eye. So it creates a combined field of view when using both eyes of about 114 degrees. Now, the PSVR supports a field of view of about 110 degrees. So there's about 4 degrees of extra field of view. You're gonna see why that's important when we try this on, because it actually allows you to see a little bit out the sides, which also helps eliminate some of that motion sickness effect. The old PSVR only supported about 100 degrees field of view. Now, less is not better. Field of view, there's like a magic number of what's good for a field of view. See, if you don't have enough, then you just see a little screen and it's too much action and not enough filling of the field of view of your natural eyes. So this way we can fill most of the field of view of your eyes without filling all of it, so that you still have that recalibration ability if you do experience motion sickness. That's not to say that if you get 115 degree field of view display panel that it's gonna be better or worse, it's just gonna be different. So Sony has settled on about 110 degrees. For optical adjustments, this adds IPD, or interpupillary distance. And what that means in regular terms is the distance of the optical viewfinders between your pupils. So if you have like a narrow face and your eyes are kind of inset, you can adjust it so that the optical range is in line with your pupils. If you have a wider face, you know, your eyes are wider apart, you can adjust it farther apart. So that's a physical adjustment on here. We'll explore that a little closer once we unbox it. But the original PSVR did not have anything of the sort. It had active eye strain relief, which this also has. And I don't know how that functions, but we'll explore it. Let's figure it out together. The big difference is the connectors, how it connects up to your PlayStation. So this does not have a breakout box. The original one had a breakout box, had an HDMI output, had a USB, I think it even had a camera input. It was a big clunky thing. This just has a regular USB-C connection, which plugs right into the front of your PlayStation 5. So there's no breakout box, it's just a straight on connection. It also has HDMI pass-through. So if you have your PlayStation 5 connected to a TV, it will still pass the signal onto the TV while still driving the PSVR 2 so that people can watch what you're doing instead of just you being some weirdo moving around and yelling at things while you're sitting there and no one can see what you're doing. So it allows it to be a little bit more of an interactive experience. We will explore that further when we do the connection and first hands-on, which is not part of this video, that's in a different video. The cable length is about 4.5 meters, that's roughly 12 feet, 13 feet or so, and it's about the same length as what the PSVR 1 cable length was. So if you had PSVR 1 and you're wondering if the length is going to be long enough, it's about the same length. So if that was long enough, then this will also be long enough. The big change here though is the tracking system. So the PSVR 1 used what was called an outside-in tracking method. So what it meant was there was a camera set up. The camera was trained to look for optical cues. Now way back then, they still used the PS Move controller, which had the giant glowing orbs, which it could track the glowing orbs in space and time, and that's how it decided where your hands were in relation to the headset. So this takes what's called an inside-out tracking method. So it has little IR sensors on the headset itself, and then it tracks kind of everything in front of you to look for where your hands are in space and time. It's a much better system because it's way easier to set up. You don't have to have that camera set up. You don't have to have any calibration. It's always calibrated to the headset. You can recalibrate it if you want to, but it's ready to go right out of the box. It's much more compact and it takes less stuff to get it going. This should be a lot more user-friendly experience. I know this is a lot of specs. Stay with me here because we're about to unbox it, so just hang in there a little bit longer. The controller input is from PSVR 2 Sense controllers. That's what they're called. They are basically a breakout of the DualSense controller, which has individual handles with the adaptive triggers to help give you a more immersive experience. You can also use the DualSense controller or a DualSense Edge controller or any number of aftermarket controllers. Some of them though may limit you from the gameplay if it does not detect that it has all of the DualSense features that are built into a controller. So if you're looking at like a Victrix BFG where it takes out the haptic feedback, this will probably limit you to not use that controller in that case. There's little headphones on here that'll drop down. We'll have a look at those, but there's also a 3.5mm audio jack that you can use, and if you have a USB headset, you can still use that. Now, like you could have, if you had something like this, an Astro headset, you can use that, but it's going to be hard to wear the headset and wear these, so we'll explore that in a little bit once we get this unboxed. And of course, there is a microphone, so if you want to talk or if the game requires you to talk to it, then that's also supported. New for the PSVR 2 is introduction of a vibration in the headband. So it adds to the realism where it vibrates your forehead. You can turn it off if it annoys you, but the original PSVR only had vibration in the controller handles. This also has vibration in the controller handles, but it's just more tricks that they have available to have a more immersive experience. The total weight of this is only 560 grams, which is lighter than PSVR 1, which is going to be good because the number one complaint a lot of people have with VR headsets in general is how comfortable they are and how much weight they put on your head and how uncomfortable they get because of that weight. Now the compatibility, a lot of you are going to be asking, can I use my PSVR 2 on my PlayStation 4? The answer is no, straight up no, you cannot. The other thing you're going to ask is, can I put my VR ready PS4 games into a PS5 and use this system with those games? Again, unfortunately, the answer is no, you cannot. So to use PSVR 2, you must use a PlayStation 5 game that has VR support initially or has been patched or updated to include PSVR support. So games like Gran Turismo, it did not release with VR support, but it does have VR support now. So a lot of those games will get patched as they get around to it. Really, there's nothing forcing them to do it, but if they feel like they could create a more immersive experience and sell more games by including that support, certainly you can expect your games to start including that. Some franchises that you should pretty much expect that would definitely be the horror genre franchise, because who wouldn't love to put VR on and actually feel like you're there in the middle of a horror scene? Also, obviously, Gran Turismo, we talked about that. Racing sims are going to be huge for PSVR. So we got a lot that we talked about as far as the features, and I know you're sitting there saying, Anton, shut up and open the box. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. So the moment you've all been waiting for is finally here. We're gonna open the box. I'm gonna start by getting my ridiculously sharp knife. Hopefully not cut my fingers off while I do this. We'll cut that tape right there. Let's see what's inside here. So to start off with, we got a box inside of a box. Let's cut this. And then this guy opens up like that. Okay. So first thing we've got, well, let's take this guy first. So this is a box on top. Let's see what's inside that box. So right off the bat, this comes with a charging cord. We'll set that over here. It also comes with our headphones, which we'll explore how those connect. They are earbud style headphones. So we'll look at that a little bit closer in a minute. Also, our full version of Horizon Call of the Mountain, it is a scratch off style. So we need to scratch that pin in order to redeem the code. We will look at that a little bit closer shortly. And then there's also a instruction manual, which you probably don't care about, but let me have a quick look. It is a blue and black color manual. It'll talk about how to use the VR, how to set it up, and all that. I'm not gonna read it because I hope that it's pretty easy to do. Now let's get these controllers out of here. So this is one of the controllers. I have not seen this yet. I just got this and I'm just pulling this out. So it does have a hand strap, so you can put it on like that. And then this would be the right hand controller. Let's look at the features on this controller. I'm gonna get this bag out of here. This controller has the cross and the O buttons, as well as an analog stick. It has the PS button. I don't know if you can see it right there. And it has the share button right there, and it has the option button up over here. On the front, we have the R2 trigger, and then on the inside edge here is the R1. So you don't have an R1 above it, so that when you're holding it, you've got this finger does the R2, and this finger will do R1. That's a good idea because this way I have my thumb on here. Now, right off the bat, I notice one thing. I wouldn't say big hands, I have kind of fat hands and short stubby fingers. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to hold this. So if I hold this as a grip, how it wants to sit in my hand, my thumb, do you see that? When it sits on here, it wants to sit way up over here. For me to bend my thumb, it's in like this weird, do you remember when you were in elementary school and you did a thumb war and you went 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare thumb war? That's what this feels like. I need to have my thumb bent at such a weird angle that for me to hold it up there, it's straining to actually have my fingers on the trigger. So, and if I slide my hand down to where my thumb fits, my finger doesn't fit on the trigger quite right. So I'm really not sure I like that. What I'm gonna have to do is use my thumb over here to move around, which will be very non-intuitive. I don't know who's this made for. I will try this with my kids to see if their hands fit any better, but it's one controller. Let's get the other one out. This one, not quite so much. Am I just gimped? Maybe I'm just gimped. That one, I seem to be able to get it easier. This one seems to make more sense, just this one doesn't. So this one, interestingly enough, also has a PS button. It has the square and the triangle button, an analog stick, it has the share button. It also has a trigger and the inside trigger, just like you already saw. So that fits all like that. So it's all accessible by moving your thumb around, moving your fingers around. And these are your hand holder things. There's also these little rings. Now, the reason they've got these rings is not because you need them. It's more because as you're swinging your hands around, if you hit something, you'll at least hit this, and it provides protection because they know your hands are going to be flailing around. Hopefully you don't hit yourself in the face. That's the only reason those are there. There shouldn't be anything in there. Maybe they have battery packs in there, but really if you didn't like it, you could probably get a hacksaw and cut that off, cut the whole ring off, make a much smaller system. The ring is not required for the system to operate. Also in the front, you'll notice there are USB-C charger ports for the controllers. There's going to be a ton of docks that you can plug these into to charge them. I will put links in the description of some docks. If you've got this system and you're looking for a dock, this will get you covered, okay? Now let's set these over here because this is the part you came for. This is it. This is the PSVR2 system. So this is our cord. Let's pull this guy out of here, just like that. Now, the cord, interestingly enough there. So right off the bat, I told you it has the headphone jack. That's the headphone jack there. I told you it has that dial for your pupil distance. So that dial is right up here. And when I turn that dial, you can watch. I'll hold this like this so that you can see. So you can see those lenses are moving. Now, a question came up with people, is the dial gonna have fine adjustment? And it doesn't. It's just a turning dial. And hopefully if I go like that, you guys can see. So I'm just gonna keep turning it. It can be adjusted to be as fine or not fine as you want. Now, I told you it has sensors from an inside out. So these are your sensors right here. Those are what's looking for the controllers so that it knows where they are in space and time. Now this will be the first time that I have put a VR headset on in about 5 years. I did PSVR 1 time to try it, and that was it. So this is gonna be a total novice perspective on how does this fit. So I don't know how it's supposed to fit. I don't know how other VR systems do fit, but let's find out. Let's make this bigger because my melon is a lot bigger than you would. So what we do, I just push this button and then this pulls out, and then I can go like this and then stick it on my head. And then you can turn that dial there to cinch it up like that. So now I look like just an idiot with a thing on my face, and I don't even know what I look like to you guys. So I'm gonna take this off now, and I'm gonna explain what I just saw. So as you saw, this part expands out. It is designed so that all of this fits on your head, and the bulk of the weight is supported on your head. It does have these little light curtains on the side which will touch the sides of your face just to kind of seal it off. It's not resting on your face. Now, we did already talk about how I have a big nose. Okay, and those of you with a big nose are probably wondering, how comfortable is this? I'm going to tell you that right inside here, this is touching my nose. And it's actually touching it quite hard. And I don't know if I move that does not make a difference at all. So I'm a little bit concerned, actually. Let me try this back on again. If I adjust it just right, I can get it to where the bridge of my nose just contacts with this, but it is contacting, and I will tell you guys that I am gonna predict that with a short amount of use, the pressure points right here on the bridge of my nose, if you have a nose as big as mine, I'll turn sideways so you can see it, I'm not trying to hide anything. If you have a nose as big as mine, VR might not be for you. Now, let's wrap this up because I need to get to the connection and first tests video, which is coming up in a future video, or it's probably already out, depending on when you're seeing this. But overall, the build quality, I would say this thing is a PlayStation product. It is built very nicely. The specs are impressive. The controllers look good. I do have some concerns about how they fit in my hand. The headset feels good, but I do have some concerns about how it contacts the bridge of my nose. We're gonna explore that a little bit further with a long-term test of this product. So more questions are gonna be answered, but at least you guys have seen what comes in this package. And we're gonna see you again. I hope we see you again because this is a long journey ahead for exploring everything that is the PSVR 2. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. you'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.